I just recorded an entire segment without having my microphone on. So we're going to contrast and compare and see which one's better. Hello dears, Natalie Locke here with my entire query journey. Some of you may not know this, but I queried therapy sessions in April of 2021 and I got a rejection letter. I'm actually really happy about it because this agent took time to write me a letter and give me what I would practically call a compliment sandwich. And from this letter, it gave me the drive, the push, and the confidence to query again today what I would like to call query day. And so it shall be known, where I sent out 9 queries and now I got to sit on my hands for potentially the next 3 months. Don't worry, I'm going to share with you 1, the rejection letter, 2, what I did to prepare myself for query day, and 3, what I plan to do while I wait. First and foremost, when I queried back in April of 2021, I did my research. I made sure this agent was wanting women's fiction, adult, something a little dark, so on and so forth. I focused on that and I got a response. Now, the response did come longer than it should have based on what they suggested their response time would be, but I'm not going to hold that against them. I didn't reach out asking about a status or anything. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I forgot about it because it was just a test to get like the first query jitters over with, and it did its job. So here is the response that I got from that agent. Dear Natalie, thank you so much for your patience. Sometimes the better ones take the longest. Please know I carefully considered your project, but I don't feel I can offer representation at this time. The marketplace is more selective than ever and I must keep a modest list. I was intrigued by the suspense thread, however, the story didn't hook me in all the ways that I had hoped. Nevertheless, I wish you every success with therapy sessions. Don't give up. Keep going with it. There are numerous agents out there that may be a good fit. I wish you all the best of luck. Warmly, the agent's first name. I just have so much respect for this agent. This agent gave me constructive feedback in the line of, it didn't hook me in all the ways that I had hoped. That combined with some of my beta reader feedback is, I kind of am slow to start. I don't grab the reader right away. They're waiting for the issue. What's the problem? Something's got to happen. And I recognize that. I still don't know how to quite to fix it, but I did try to fix it a little bit with, as she noted, the suspense thread. I know what she's talking about here. And she liked that and definitely gave her a intrigue of where is this going. I also like the compliment that she gave of the better ones take the longest. And she included, she took careful consideration. She didn't look at it, read it, and go, you know what, this isn't grabbing me like I wanted to, and tossed it. At least not by her letter. She could have done it in real life. But I, first and foremost, love the fact that my first get the jitters overs with query was a success in the way that I got a response. I am also very thankful that this agent took the time to respond, because what do most of the queries warn us? You're probably not going to get a response. So to get a response, that feels very special, that I'm probably headed in the right direction. I just need a few more tweaks. I'm hoping, now that I have the confidence for query day, that one of these 9 queries I've sent out will come back positive. Maybe representation, maybe more than one. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Calm down. It's okay. So let me tell you how I researched each and every one of the literary agents that I ended up querying. The way I went through it is, first, I went on querytracker.com and I researched every single literary agent. And not only did I rely on query.com, I also looked on a manuscript wish list. And then I also went to the literary agency's website to see what that bio said. From there, I was able to figure out if all those 3 locations, there was not the words of closed to query, I assumed that this agent is in the right realm. Now, with that, In the process of trying to gather all the names, by the time I got down to ready to query, I discovered some of them actually became now closed to queries. So your research is not one and done. You got to get back to it. Other side of the house, I did go and utilize Zara Hoffman's, she's linked down below. I utilized her Ko-fi page commission where she will research an agent for you. Out of the 9 that I sent her, she was only able to find information on 4. Now, per her information, just because she couldn't find information on the other 5 doesn't mean they were bad. It just means they're not computer savvy. So, just want to add that in. What I looked for in agents. For me, I was looking for someone with women's fiction, contemporary, dark humor, adult. I did query one person who said they were selective with their adult novels. They were mostly YA and middle grade. But I pulled a lot of the themes that they were looking for in their picture books, middle grade and YA novels, such as challenging social norms, such as political discussion, such as having strong character-driven voices. I had those tick marks. Here's the other thing I did. I went through and I prepped these documents ahead of time. I prepped a query letter for each agent that I was planning to query as a single document for each person. And I went through and I pulled, per your manuscript list, this novel, blank, 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 may be up your alley. And I pulled keywords from their wish list, from their biography on their website, whatever it was that I was pulling from, I pulled those keywords and put it in the first paragraph of my query letter. Then, if they had specific instructions for emailing, some of these literary agents use Query Manager, some of them used email. If they had specific instructions for email, the second to last paragraph of my query letter said, per your instructions, or per the submission instructions found on the agency's website, what have you, I have below my signature block the first 10 pages, 20 pages, the first chapter of my book, and after that, the synopsis, the biography, whatever. If they ask for it, I want your bio and then 10 pages, then I listed it as bio and then 10 pages in the body of the email. If they wanted it attached, I said attached as a PDF is the first 10 pages of Therapy Sessions, which is the book I queried. All of these were constant checking and double checking. And then here's the deal. The agents will find out I accidentally submitted a bio when I was supposed to submit the 3 chapters of my story. So I resubmitted. That might come back and bite me in the butt. So don't be like me. Pay even closer attention in detail and try to prep documents ahead of time. I also had an emergency situation because I was copy and pasting the same document over and over. One of my query letters was actually saved over for another agent. Luckily, I had the agent's name of dear whoever I was querying. I had it up there and it immediately clicked because the file name did not match the name in the dear line. So I had to quickly go back to this agent's manuscript wish list and fine-tune that first paragraph and the dear line so that I could tailor this query letter to them. Although I have Query Manager for most of who I submitted to, I also have a spreadsheet on my desktop where it says where I submitted to them. And if I ever saw a line that said, we'll get back to you in 12 weeks, or if we don't, assume it's a rejection. So I put 90 days for that. If they gave me a timeline, I put the timeline in there. If they didn't, I'm putting 90 days just because it's the furthest timeline I've seen out on any query submissions, just because it's the furthest line I've seen out on any query submissions. So I think it's safe to just assume, hey, don't look until 90 days. That is my query process. To prepare to query, I have a synopsis that was under 500 words created. I had my story saved in 3 different ways and then ready to create a PDF if need be. I had a chapter 1 by itself, chapter 1 and 2 by itself, and chapter 1, 2, and 3 by itself, because that was the querying methods I saw. Now, when they had the instance of, I want chapter 1 or 10 pages, I asked a few of my friends and they said, submit chapter 1, because my chapter 1 is actually 11 pages. If they requested 10 pages and there was no option for chapter 1, I just sent 10 pages. So you really have to pay attention to the instructions. One of the email submissions said, make sure your subject line is exactly like this. And I checked 3 times to make sure my subject line was exactly how they wanted it. In all my emails, I pasted the query letter first. Then I had that little summary paragraph right before my signature block that says, after my signature block, you will find blank, 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 blank. I was hopefully very methodical, and if I did make mistakes, hopefully the rest of it supports that I'm good. Interestingly enough, on Query Manager, not every Query Manager request was the exact same. So, some submissions wanted a bio, some didn't ask for a bio. Some submissions asked for a quick 1-sentence pitch line of my story. I used the same one for each one. The most interesting prompt that I saw was, what future work do you have? And I listed the 4 things that I am really working on in my mind or have actually started writing. 2 things I started writing, the other 2 things were in my mind, but I listed them all there with a quick 1-2 sentences max of what they were, which could easily be my taglines if I ever go there. That was my query process. Now here's the most important thing. What do I plan to do for the next 90 days while I'm waiting for these literary agents to either read my stuff and actually reply, or to make me realize the date's come and gone, they haven't replied, so I know it's a rejection? I plan to continue my flash fiction writing. I plan to research questions to ask a literary agent when you get the phone call, just in case. I want to be prepared. And I plan to continue editing my project Parallel, about parallel universes. I plan to continue editing that story. And that's where I'm at. That's what I plan to do. So, any other advice on what I should do other than constantly checking my email? Please let me know if you need a more detailed query process video. I know this one is kind of thrown together and I'm still shaking because I just submitted and I'm hoping things work out in my favor. I'm going to try to find enjoyment while I'm not twiddling my thumbs but still waiting for responses, and I hope you are able to find enjoyment through whatever creative process you are pursuing through your day, your week, your month, and your year. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, I did query therapy sessions in April, May of last year. Some of you may not know this, but I queried therapy sessions in April of 2021.